Hey, it's time for school, and I'm not just talking about your middle school or high school. It's time for High Plains Technology Center, and I've got Katie and a guest, Don. Good morning. Good to have you guys.
Good morning.
Good morning. So my name is Katie Shirley, Marketing Coordinator at High Plains Technology Center, and I've been there 8 years now. And today I've got with me Mr. Don Gaines. And so, Don, can you tell us a little bit about your background and your journey to where you are right now as you sit here?
I have had an interesting journey. So I am actually from Houston, Texas. Grew up there and lived there the first 18 years of my life. Went to the University of Texas in Austin, which I know everybody around here is always excited to hear. And that's kind of where I met my lovely wife. Most people in Woodward know her as Kayla Bowers, but now obviously she's Kayla Gaines, and got married and started working, and she said, let's move back home. And so we built a house and brought our family here. And so we are so blessed to be here and just love it here. But found High Plains after I moved here, got a job with High Plains and teaching health careers. And then, really, I had a leadership background, and so talked to our now superintendent, Barkley Holt, about leadership opportunities, and he advised me to get my master's in education administration. I did that. Last year, I made it into a position that was basically the director of daytime programs, and then with the transition with Barkley becoming the superintendent, I took his spot as the assistant superintendent. So it's been quite the journey to get here, and I'm so blessed to be here.
Quite the journey to be here, and I can parallel a lot of that story. I moved here from 22 years in Dallas.
Oh, wow.
So, and stayed.
And I skipped
and
that
love
part.
it. We love it here.
I skipped that part where I did go from Austin to the Dallas Mid-Cities area, and we were there for 6 or 7 years, and then before we decided to come on up here to Woodward.
And sometimes whenever I'm trying to explain like the position you hold, whenever it was Mr. Holt, is the daytime assistant superintendent is kind of functioning as the principal, as what you would kind of consider at some schools. Would you say that's kind of close?
Yes, the assistant superintendent functions as that, but recently we've been lucky enough, as I said, that first position I had, the director of daytime programs, is really the day-to-day principal. So that person's Jennifer Dew Cockerham. She gets to see the teachers and help the teachers day-to-day. She'll deal with student discipline if we have any, and all those things. And I get to oversee that and the budget for all of our daytime programs as well.
Okay, yeah, because you have quite a few staff that sit under you, actually, in your role that you're leader of.
I do, and I'm fortunate enough to have several leaders underneath me that just kind of see all the way down, and it would be really tough for me to have to oversee everybody, but I have some really good directors and coordinators and people like that hopefully we'll hear from at some point, but they are great in overseeing the things that we do day to day and helps make High Plains such a successful place to be.
All right. One question to start out with, I was just kind of wondering is what do you love the most about the Career Tech system? Because you didn't actually attend a Career Tech school growing up, did you?
No. In Texas, there is not a formal Career Tech system. It's more in the community colleges and junior colleges and things like that. So I had no idea when I moved to Woodward what the Career Tech system was until I really started researching and figured out what it was and got into it. And so I would say my favorite thing about it is just the exposure that it gives kids and gives students while they're still trying to figure out what they're doing, mm-hmm. and being able to do that. It's amazing that, a high school junior or senior can be a phlebotomist or a medical assistant or, be building houses if they've come out of construction or be doing underwater welding or things like that. It's just amazing that they get that kind of exposure at such an early age.
So you've been there 8 years now, is that right?
That is correct.
And then getting to be in the classroom at the beginning, have you had some neat experiences of getting to see students you had, say, 7, 8 years ago that are out in the world now, actually in a career that they began with you years ago?
Absolutely. I have that's the best part of teaching is building those relationships with those students and seeing them succeed as they continue to grow. There's so many examples I could give, but one of the more recent or front of mind is there's a student that I had probably my first or second year that she went on and I believe she finished the phlebotomy and she worked as a phlebotomist here in town for a long time. And now she's actually in our LPN program trying to become a licensed practical nurse.
That's awesome. I love that we have the career path that we can help you from the very beginning, and then now we have a next step for you, and then we have another step after that, and so that's pretty neat to see.
And it is rewarding because a lot of these kids do stay here local.
Yes.
So you do get to
and
see them grow up.
You know, it was interesting for me coming into career tech and people saying, you know, calling it the VOTech and oh, it's those kids and just me hearing that perception that it used to be a certain group of kids, and it absolutely is not that. Especially in the class I was in, health careers, we look at there's a place for everybody. There's a place for those kids that are looking to go to college to figure out, hey, do I really want to be a nurse or do I want to be a doctor? And I can figure that out when I'm still a junior in high school rather than go to 4 years of school and then figure out, oh, darn, I didn't want to do that. So they can figure that out. Or, hey, I can go to school for a year or two and become a phlebotomist and go work at the hospital here in Woodward. I can, go be a medical assistant for one of the doctors in town and do that with just coming to our class. So it's really a place for everyone and neat to see that we have that right here in Woodward.
Yeah. So tell me about the student organizations that the students have the opportunity to be a part of.
This is such a big piece that not everybody sees. They see it, but they don't really know what it is. Growing up, I wasn't unfortunately, a part of a lot of getting involved and doing other organizations and community service and things like that. And to me, that's been one of the biggest eye-openers that our student organizations do. So, at High Plains, we have BPA, or Business Professionals of America. We have HOSA, Future Health Professionals. We have DECA, which is our marketing group and their student organization. And then we have Skills USA, which is really a lot of the trade, so construction and welding and service careers. And so, we have all those that expose these students to competitions. There's leadership activities. There's community service projects that they do. They do all these things through those student organizations, and it grows these students from being just a regular student to someone that could proceed in leadership or, continue to get better and better themselves as people.
So tell us a little bit about, in the past couple of years, the students' opportunities for leadership, like you were mentioning, to go further beyond just High Plains and get a further reach across the state.
So we've been fortunate here just in the last 4 or 5 years to have several state officers. And again, that's a big, big deal. We have local officers, and we always do those, and that's just our own people. But you have to run and go through interviews and a lot of leadership processes to become a state officer. And I think we're at, sitting 6 or 7 just here in the last 4 or 5 years. And, that sets a precedent. The kids before them see that and they say, I want to do that. And it's just been awesome. Since I've been in health careers here, again, in the last 4 years, I believe we've had 5 state officers. So it's incredible. And it's just one leading the next. And it's going to continue to grow and grow.
And speaking of the interview process, I think I've got to sit in and interview some of these students that are trying to become the president of HOSA or vice president. And I think that's always great to have them go through that process, because the more interviews you can go through before you get to that career when you're ready to trying to land that job. I think that practice has been great. And then they actually go out and implement all these ideas that they've presented to us. So I think that's great. So Don, do you have anything else you wanted to share with us before we kind of wrap up today?
Nope, just ending on that. I'm so proud of our state officers right now. We have Aspen Crabtree is just finishing up her term with HOSA. Yasmin Reyes is going to be our Skills USA state president. Kellen Cancer is also a Skills USA, and Kirsten Cook is one of our DECA state officers. So really proud of those guys and look forward to everything they're going to bring to High Plains this year.
Well, you guys should be proud. You're doing some great work. So thanks for coming in, and we'll let you get back to High Plains Technology and let the other ones get to school so they're not late.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Thanks.